I thought I'd make a short video on some things that I did in order to maximize the amount of mat space that I have in school and how many students I could fit on the mat, in case any of you guys are ever interested in opening a school or you want to start your own club or training space on your own time. One thing that I did is I made my walkways as small as possible while still being reasonable. I have a very, very small walkway leading from my door around the edge of one side, leading into the bathroom, and then there's no walkway past that point. It's all mats going back there. I have about a 2,000 square foot unit, and I have close to 1,600 square feet of mats. So 80% of my space is mat space. And I did it by making my walkway nice and small to where I still have plenty of seating. I have about 22 seats in the front part of the school. And most of it is mats, because ultimately you're trying to fit as many students as you can on the mats, and everything else, doesn't really matter that much. I have a very, very small space in the corner over there for my desk. I have a $25 desk from Walmart, which is extremely small. And I have all the space that I need in order to talk to parents or potential students when I'm trying to sign them up, or if I'm trying to do some form of office work, right? I have space over there that I can use, but I don't need that much, right? You want to maximize your space. Ideally, in the back area, beyond the bathroom, beyond the walkway, if you have that sort of space, you'll have wall-to-wall mats reaching close to all the way down to the end, right? Because, again, you want to fit as many students as you can into the space that you have leased. Now, the other thing that you can do is to teach a bunch of classes. What you want to do is you want to stratify the classes. I teach on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, I teach 7 classes a day. Monday, I teach 6, Friday, I teach 3. But generally speaking, the reason why I teach so many classes is because it allows me to have a larger student base. And, people want to see that you have several options depending on skill level. If you're a parent, the age of the child, you want to make sure that there's plenty of times that are convenient for you. My schedule, I have a 10 a.m. kids class from ages 6 to about 12, which is a homeschool class. It's much smaller than my evening class, but I can teach it by myself. Sometimes if it's big and I have like 15 kids, I'll have another coach there. But overall, I can teach it by myself, and it's just an extra time that you guys have in the morning, so highly recommend that. You get in touch with a few homeschool pods and see if they'd be interested in trying out a few weeks of your program. It gives them another opportunity where they can do stuff in the morning, which oftentimes these families like to do. And so you can have 2 different kids programs, or at least 1 kids program, but 2 different class times. My 11 a.m. time, I do an adult morning class for people that work odd hours, or sometimes people have a lunch break that they like to come in and they like to take class in the morning. Then I have a blue belt class at noon, again for the blue belts that were part of my 11 a.m., but they got numerous enough to where now I can have an advanced class at noon. Then I teach again at 4:30, 3 times a week. I teach my little kids, okay? I teach my ages 4 and 5 kids. You will probably need more coaches per kid in that class if you actually want them to build useful skills, just because they're very small and their attention span isn't quite as developed as it is for the older kids. But it's a very fun, rewarding class. You absolutely don't know, you never know what they're going to do or say next. It's quite entertaining, and it again allows you to reach a market which, if you only do older kids, then you're not reaching and you're not utilizing your space for that time. At 5:30, I have my other 6 to 12-year-old kids class. That class is much bigger. I average about 25 to 30 students in that class right now, and I have several instructors on the mat. And so what I've done now that I've been open a little over 3 years is I have the white belts work in the front of the room from their beginner's curriculum, which is only about 3.5 to 4 months long. And then I have my advanced students, my gray white belts and up, in the back area. And they work from a more advanced curriculum, which is about 6.5, 7 months long. And so they are developing important skills that they can't get in the beginner's class, because if you just keep everybody in the same class, the more advanced students are going to get bored. They're going to be learning the same thing every day that they already know how to do. So you want to give them something exciting. You want to give them a curriculum which is going to be more challenging for them, when they have the fundamental skills to where they can actually learn the material, because they've been in the beginner's class for a long time. They've learned many of the basic moves, and so they're probably ready to learn some more advanced moves, be challenged with a different class structure, different curriculum. Also, at that point, they'll have been well integrated into the behavioral model that you expect for the class. So you're going to have a lot less disciplinary action being taken in the more advanced class. And you can have them in one section of the school, run by one of your coaches, run by yourself, or the other side of the mat is your beginner's class and is being run by somebody else. You could even stratify them into different times if you have the ability to do that and if that makes sense. My 6:30 time, I teach teens and adults at the same time. My fundamentals class, it's pretty simple. I have 2 women's classes during the week, taught by my wife, Chelsea. I think she does a phenomenal job with it, and I highly recommend that you guys start a women's program as well. Oftentimes, most of the time, I would say, when women haven't done jiu-jitsu or any kind of martial art before, they really, really like having a class of only women taught by a woman instructor. So if you can make that happen, that's going to be a big benefit to your school, and you're going to get a lot of women to sign up and join your classes that otherwise I think would have been too intimidated to actually join the school. And then finally, my last class at 7:30 is my blue belt class, where again, I teach my more advanced students. And who knows, maybe a few years from now, when I have many, many more colored belts, I might even have a purple and up class, right, where I teach really advanced stuff. Or maybe I focus on teaching concepts, on striking, on, ground and pound stuff. Things that I wouldn't teach white and blue belts, right, more advanced stuff. The idea is you want to give yourself room to grow as your student base expands, as you get new students in. You want to offer them more value. You don't want them learning from the same beginner's curriculum for 5 years. They're going to be bored. Their skills aren't going to improve nearly as much. And, it's not beneficial to them to do. You want to be able to stratify the skill levels and teach people different material based on where they are. And it also helps you build out your school without having to get more mat space. If you have all your blue belts and up in one class and all your white belts in another class at different times, then you can actually have a much greater student base because they're not going at the same time. So just some things to consider, guys. The last thing I'll say is if you are overflowing with students in one of your classes to where not everybody can roll at the same time, just alternate rolling, okay? I've talked to many people that have smaller spaces. Rent is very, very expensive in the area in which they have their school, or they just haven't had the opportunity to move to a bigger space yet. And so what they do is they'll have half of their students rolling at one time during the drills, while the other students wait on the wall, and then after that round is over, they switch, right? Gives people time to, get some water, get a break in between rounds, and it makes it so that now there's actually space for them to try to do the positional drilling and implement the stuff that they learn in class. So if you're interested in opening a school, if you're interested in starting a club, if you're interested in just having some space, right, where you can bring people in, these are some things to keep in mind for the future, okay? Thanks a lot for watching, guys. I hope you liked this video. If you did, smash the thumbs up button. Also, subscribe to the channel. Click that notification bell. That way you guys get notified every time we have new videos out there. Thanks a lot for watching. We'll see you next time.